Hello everyone, in this episode I'm gonna be talking about the CSS float property. So yeah, let's get into it. So, what is the float? Well, the CSS float property specifies how an element should float, basically. So, we can specify what elements can float beside another element and on which side. So, it's used for positioning and formatting content, for example, an image. So, yeah, the float property can have a total of 4 values. So, they are going to be float, and the values are left, right, none, and inherit. So there we go. So I'm gonna create an example. In this one, I'm going to be using the float right property. So first, I'm gonna type a paragraph. This is the float, and then big right. Actually, not big. Let's use the bold. Alright. Okay, looks better. There we go. Then I can type in, or I can insert an image. Image, the source will be images, and let's use one of these. Let's use the flower. Alright. And then the alternative text is going to be flowers, or flower. And yeah, I'm gonna set the width to 100. Okay, 200 maybe. There we go. And then I'm going to be adding this image inside of a paragraph like this. I'm gonna cut this line and insert it here. So yeah, now we can have text. On here, I'm gonna hit lorem and press tab. And we can also have text below. So here we go. Even more text below. There we go. Now if I set a class for the image, let's set a class of float example. And then let's get the class dot float example. Let's float to the right. So you can see what happens. The image will move to the right. I'm gonna create some more sample text. And you can see that the image, it's going to be over there and the text can go around it. If we didn't have this, it would look like this. So yeah, this is a very useful property. We can also say float to the left. Then the text is no longer being pushed down by the image. The text will appear alongside with the image. So yeah, that's basically what the float property does. It allows us to place an element and then basically display some text or something else beside it. So the image floats to the left right now, and the text in the paragraph will wrap around the image. So yeah, that's useful. Okay, I'm gonna give you another example. So, let's create some div elements. I'm gonna create a div. I'm gonna say box1. Then I'm gonna copy this, let's say 3 times. I'm gonna give each one a class box1. I'm gonna continue and copy this. This will be box2 and box number 3. The same goes for the text. Alright. Then I'm gonna go to the style sheet and I'm gonna take the box 1. Or actually, let's select all the div elements first. So all the divs are going to be float left and padding, let's say 20 pixels. Alright, so now we can see that the div elements are being shown next to each other on the web page. Then we can add specific styles to the boxes. So let's take box 1 and let's set the background color to be pink. Box 2 will get a color of light blue and box 3 will be light green. So there we go. We have some boxes that are floating to the left next to each other. What about the right? That works as well. Now they are just starting from 3 to 1. So yeah, keep that in mind. Alright. So that's another example of the float property. And this way we can have block level elements that take up the entire viewport's width normally. This way we can have them displayed on top of each other. I mean next to each other. So yeah, pretty useful. Then let's get to the CSS clear. So the clear property is used together with the float property. So when we use the float property and we want the next element below, not on right or the left side, we have to use the clear property. Basically that specifies what's gonna happen with the element that's next to the floating element. I'm gonna give you an example. And by the way, the clear can have a total of 5 different values. They are going to be none, left, right, both, and inherit. So yeah, let's go and I'm gonna give you an example. So inside of the HTML, I'm gonna make an h2 heading. Let's say that this is the clear left, and then I'm gonna create 2 div elements. The first is gonna have the class of box1 and it will be box1. I'm gonna copy this and then we have box2. Alright, so right now they are showing up next to each other like that. And I'm gonna remove the padding. And instead I'm gonna take the box 1. And then I'm gonna float to the left. Like that. The padding will be 10 pixels. And let's set a border. Alright. So there we have that one. Then we gotta style the div number 2, which is gonna be box 2. And let's set some padding, 10 pixels, and a border of 2 pixels solid. So right now, this is basically what we learned previously. If we use the clear property over here, this will happen. Clear left. Now the box 2 element is going to be appearing underneath this. However, divs are block level elements, so if you remove the float, it's gonna be underneath anyway. And we can set the width to be 10% on this one. So this would create the same result. But this is another way to achieve the same thing. Float and clear. So yeah. So when we use the clear left, it looks like this, and when we don't, it looks like this. Alright, I'm gonna give you another example. So let's go ahead and use an image. First I'm gonna create an h2 heading. And in CSS floats we have something called clear fix. So yeah, basically I'm gonna show you the issue. So let's create a div element or paragraph first. And let's say that the image is taller than the element containing it. Overflow. Alright, and then I'm gonna create a div element with the class of actually no class. I'm gonna insert an image inside of the div, and that will be having the class of image1, and the source will be images. Let's use the flower one again, and the width will be 200. Okay. Then let's go on to the style sheet, and over here I'm gonna style the div. So the div is gonna get a border 4 pixels solid and padding of 5 pixels, let's say. Then let's float the image 1 to the right. So right now you can see that the div element is too small to contain the image, so the image will overflow. So it's not inside of the div element. However, we have a fix for this, the clear fix. So basically, we can say float right like we do here, and then we can take another div element. Actually no, not another div element, but instead of saying float right, actually we are going to need another div. So let's create, actually no, we are not. Let's say class clearfix. We are only going to need a class. Alright, so now this div element has a class as well as the image. So let's go ahead and style that. So let's take the clear fix, and then we are going to use a pseudo element after. And then we will make the, or use the clear property. We will say clear both display table. And also content empty. So these 3 lines are used to create this. We can also increase the padding if we want to. That will work as well. Let's say 200 pixels. So yeah, let's say 50 pixels. So yeah, with the clear fix, the so-called clear fix, we can name this anything. Let's say container. Alright, that's simple. So yeah, with these lines, by setting the content to empty, using the clear property, using the both value, and displaying it as a table, we can keep the image inside of the div element, and it's no longer overflowing. And we can change the float to the left, to set it to none, which will not change anything, and so on. But let's stick with right for now. So yeah, what if we say right over here? That's gonna also work, but left is not, because the element is being floated on the right, not on the left. So you can say both, or then the right, or whatever side you're floating on. So yeah, basically this is a very useful, this is known as the clear fix, and it will prevent the containing element. In this case, it's the div element, this one. So the containing element will not allow anything inside to overflow outside of it. So yeah, there we go. What if we copy this? See, it's not overflowing. They are still inside and now they are just on top of each other. So yeah, that's the so-called clear fix in CSS. There is also an easier method. We can just say overflow auto, but that's not gonna work always. So keep that in mind and also remove that. However, in this case it does work. But if you have a lot of margins, padding, stuff like that, it might not work. But in this case it works. So you can use overflow auto, or you can set the display to table, the content to be empty, and then the clear to be both. So this one will also work. So yeah, that is the float and clear properties in CSS. I hope you were able to learn something new in this episode, and I hope I'm gonna see you in the next episode. Alright, bye bye everyone and have a wonderful day.